Today's video is going to be a little different, as I really wanted to do just a quick unboxing and kind of an early impressions video of a new watch I was sent by Zelos. They reached out to me a few weeks ago and wanted to know if I was interested in seeing the new version 2 Swordfish in stainless. So I requested either the fully lumed frost one or this ice blue one, just, for something different. And at the time of actually filming this unboxing, I really didn't know which one I was going to get sent. Now, if you watch the channel, you know I don't normally do unboxings. Most of the time I think it's better just to put my time and effort into doing a full review. So I don't do them unless I actually have a good reason to. And here I actually have two reasons. The first is that I know there's always a huge interest in Zelos, especially when they launch a new watch, and especially when there's launch special pricing going on for that new watch. And here, I think that launch special pricing ends in a couple of weeks, and I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be able to do a full review of this. Since I haven't seen a lot of footage of this particular version, I thought I'd do a quick unboxing of it, as well as just get some good close-ups of it as well, just for those people who are already thinking of buying one and just weren't sure which one they wanted to get. The second is that I usually don't show how the watches are packaged or shipped at all, and Zelos really has a great way of presenting their products. As inside the shipping package is just a simple cardboard box, but inside that, you have a sleeve containing a very nice wood box. On the top, it has the Zelos logo engraved, with a piano hinge on the back, all finished off with a magnetic closure in the front. In some ways, this is a bit overkill for a watch box, but overkill is not always a bad thing. And inside that box, you'll find a blue leather watch roll, which is really nice as it gives you something you can use afterwards. Although, I'm not really sure what you can do with the box, but I'm sure you can think of something. Now, inside that roll, we first see the extra brown leather straps that come with this, as well as the warranty card, which is this nice etched metal. But in the rightmost pocket, the one with the big Z, we do have the new Swordfish. And this one is in that sunburst light blue. It's also really covered in protective plastic, so give me a few minutes and you'll really be able to see it. Or at least you will when I zoom in. So I'll throw some specs in on the side, but I'm not really going to go over them here, at least yet. I'll save that for the real review. But like the previous Swordfish versions, the case here is really reminiscent of a Seiko Samurai, being just a little bit modern and really angular. And just holding it, I can say that there's really a good weight and feel to it here. Now, this one has a stainless steel insert on the bezel to go along with this dial, which they're calling Ice Blue. And it's definitely an interesting color. What I've noticed already is that blue color, the intensity of the blue, it just really depends on the angle and the amount of direct light hitting it. It's definitely not a color for everyone, but I will say that this is really photogenic. I'm not sure I've even got a bad shot of this thing so far. Although, honestly, I'm not entirely sure it goes with this dark brown leather strap, but the dial itself still looks good. Now, this is not my first Swordfish, and I actually got sent the bronze one late last month, and a review of that will be coming soon. So I've already spent a good amount of time with this type of dial, and I can say that I really like the design here. It's a simple, yet just really effective way of making a very clean and symmetrical design, but one that's really visually distinct with just a touch of depth. And it's also a great way for creating a huge surface area for a lot of lume. So if you love lume, then this thing will not disappoint. And I really just love the use of two lume colors on the stainless Swordfish, where the main components are a green C3, but the second hand and the chapter ring are in blue. Although I should point out that the bronze version, the second hand is in blue, but that's about it. And the bracelet here does have solid end links and has a really good feel to it. Now, there is an issue with that bracelet and one you may have heard of, but I'll talk about that in a second. Overall, my first impression of the version 2 Swordfish is really positive, but again, I've only had it for a few days. Yet, there are three things I noticed right off the bat that I do want to talk about, and right now let's just call them observations, and I'll see how I feel about them in a few weeks. The first is the dial color and how that dial color meshes with the lume. About half the time, that bottom layer of the sandwich dial has a very nice cream color to it, and I think it's a color that really meshes well with that blue-silver dial. Yet the Swordfish really is a lume monster, and it's just sucking up ambient light all around it. So the other half of the time, that bottom layer has a little bit of a green hue to it. And while normally I think it's kind of a cool effect, I'm not sure how that greenish hue really goes with this dial. It's not bad, but I think it is an effect that would look better on some of the darker versions. Although if they use this dial color again, one suggestion I would have would be to switch the lume colors around. Now the primary lume color on this dial is a C3 green with a little bit BGW9 blue highlights. And here, and maybe on the teal dial version, I think it would have been better if they swapped it. That way that bottom of the sandwich dial would always have a little bit of a blue glow to it rather than green. The second thing is the bezel, and I can say that it has a really good action with almost no backplay. But there's also not a whole lot of surface area to be able to grip onto. The third thing is something you may already know about, and that is the clasp. The clasp here is really well made, but for whatever reason, they decided to make a shorter clasp than you would normally expect. And one benefit of that shorter clasp is that it does conform to your wrist better than you would normally expect, but it also makes it really difficult to get on and off. Because by shortening that clasp, you also shorten the length of the bracelet when it's fully open. And this is something I noticed immediately from the first time trying to put it on, as in order to get it on, I really have to compress my hand and just really wiggle it on down there. So this is an issue, and it's an issue that is going to affect some people more than others. It just depends on how big your wrist is to how big your hand is. But something else I noticed almost immediately was that if you rotate the watch inward, it is a whole lot easier to get on and off. So not a permanent solution, but it is one that might help a few people out. Although, as I said, it is rather comfortable to wear because of that shortened clasp. So I'm going to give it some more time before I really make a final judgment on it. Otherwise, that's pretty much all I have for you today. But with a little bit of luck, I'll have another video out by the end of the week. And this is one you really don't want to miss. But in the meantime, let me know in the comments what you think about this dial color or the clasp. Is it a deal killer, or is it something that you think is livable? And as always, if you enjoy the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for joining me.